Most people are slaves to their emotions, and that's why they fail. Think about it. Anger makes you reckless. Fear makes you hesitate. Excitement makes you impulsive. Sadness makes you weak. Every bad decision you've ever made was driven by one thing: emotion. The most powerful minds in history understood this. They trained themselves to think without feeling, to act without hesitation, to analyze without bias, and in doing so, they became untouchable. Why? Because logic doesn't break under pressure. It doesn't react. It doesn't panic. It doesn't fall apart. The moment you learn to detach from emotions, the moment you stop letting them dictate your actions, that's the moment you take full control. So how do you do it? How do you stop letting emotions control you? How do you think with cold-blooded logic, even in the most intense situations? In this video, you'll learn 6 psychological strategies to detach from emotions before they control you, make rational, strategic decisions under pressure, develop an unshakable, emotion-proof mindset. Let's begin. The power of detachment. Think first, feel later. Your emotions are the enemy of logic. They distort reality, cloud your judgment, and make you act against your own best interests. Why? Because emotions are reactive. They override rational thinking and push you into impulsive decisions, ones you regret later. Anger makes you lash out before you think. Fear makes you retreat when you should stand firm. Excitement blinds you to risks. Sadness weakens your resolve. But what if you could detach? What if you could observe your emotions without acting on them? This is the key to control. The most powerful strategists, elite military operatives, and master negotiators never react emotionally because they've trained themselves to think first, feel later. The observer effect. How to step outside yourself. Imagine you're watching a movie, except the person on the screen is you. Instead of feeling the emotions in real time, you analyze them as an outsider. This is how the world's best decision-makers operate. Chess grandmasters never let emotions dictate their next move. They see the board from a bird's-eye view. Every decision is calculated. CEOs in high-stakes deals don't let pressure affect them. They read the room, analyze every angle, and only act when the time is right. Elite military operatives don't panic under fire. They observe, assess, and execute with absolute precision. They don't feel first. They think first. How do you train yourself to do this? Practical exercise. The third-person perspective. The next time you feel yourself reacting emotionally, pause. Imagine you're watching yourself from a distance. Ask, if this were happening to someone else, what would I advise them to do? Detach. Act on logic, not impulse. The more you train this, the more automatic it becomes, and soon no situation will ever shake you again. But emotions don't just cloud your judgment. They are also weaponized against you. Let's talk about how people manipulate your emotions and how to break free. How emotions are used against you and how to break free. Most people don't control their emotions control them, and that's exactly why they're so easy to manipulate. Think about it. Why do politicians use fear to push their agendas? Why do salespeople create urgency to make you buy? Why does the media keep you addicted to outrage and anxiety? Because emotions are the ultimate tool of control. The 4 emotional traps and how they are weaponized against you. 1. Guilt, used to make you comply. If you really cared, you would do this. Good people don't say no. To fear used to keep you in line. You'll regret it if you don't act now. If you don't take this opportunity, you'll lose everything. 3. Anger used to make you act irrationally. How can you let them get away with that? You need to fight back immediately. 4. Excitement used to make you impulsive. This is a once-in-a-lifetime deal. If you don't grab this now, someone else will. Example: how mass psychology controls the public. Look at political campaigns. They rarely focus on facts. Instead, they trigger fear and outrage because emotions make people stop thinking critically. Look at advertising. It's never about the product. It's about how it makes you feel. Status, excitement, urgency. Look at social media. The most viral posts aren't logical. They are emotional triggers designed to provoke reactions. So how do you break free? Practical exercise. The emotional audit. Every time you feel a strong emotional reaction, pause. Ask yourself, who benefits from me feeling this way? Dissect it like an outsider. Is this a genuine emotion, or is it being triggered by external influence? Neutralize it. Refuse to react immediately. Delay your response. Process it logically first. Once you recognize emotional manipulation, it loses all power over you. Now that you understand how emotions are used against you, the next step is learning how to control your reactions so no one can ever manipulate you again. Slowing down. Reactions. Control before you respond. Impulsive decisions are weak decisions. Why? Because they are driven by emotion, not logic. You fire back in an argument, then regret what you said. You react in anger, then escalate a situation that could have been controlled. You panic under pressure, then realize you ignored critical information. Powerful people never react instantly. They pause. They control the moment before they respond. How do elite negotiators win? They use silence to force the other side to overthink. How do military leaders make life or death decisions? They delay, assess, then execute. How do expert poker players dominate the table? They never show emotion, never react instantly. The rule: the first person to react loses. Every second you pause before reacting, you gain power. Because when you don't react, the other person starts reacting to you. Practical exercise. The 5-second rule for emotional control. Next time you feel an emotional reaction building up, pause. Count to 5 in your head before responding. Take a slow breath. Mentally step outside yourself. Analyze the situation like an outsider. Ask, what would the most logical version of me do right now? Then act, only if it benefits you. The result? You stop saying things you regret. You stop letting others push your buttons. You control the conversation because you control yourself first. Want proof? Try it today. In conversations, in arguments, in high-pressure situations, pause, observe, and let others reveal their weaknesses first. But controlling your reaction is only step 1. Next, you must learn how to use emotions as data, not as commands. Turning emotions into data, not decisions. Emotions are not the enemy. The problem isn't feeling them, it's obeying them. The shift: stop seeing emotions as orders, start seeing them as signals. Example: a soldier feels fear before battle, but he doesn't obey it. Instead, he asks, what is this fear telling me? What should I prepare for? An elite investor feels excitement before a big deal, but he doesn't rush in. Instead, he asks, "Am I being blinded by emotion, or is this a smart move?" A high-level intelligence officer feels suspicion, but he doesn't act on it immediately. He waits, collects more data, and confirms before making a move. The rule? Your emotions are not instructions. They are just data points. How do you apply this? Practical exercise. The emotion journal. When you feel a strong emotion, pause. Write down exactly what you feel. Not, "I am angry." Instead, "I feel frustration because of X." Ask, "What is this emotion telling me?" Fear might signal a risk. Anger might highlight a boundary being crossed. Decide logically what action, if any, is necessary. The result? You stop reacting blindly. You start making calculated decisions. You become impossible to manipulate. Most people are slaves to their emotions, but those who analyze them, they become strategists. They become untouchable. Now that you know how to separate emotions from actions, it's time to master the ultimate weapon, emotional indifference. The power of indifference. Stop letting people affect you. If someone can control your emotions, they control you. Think about it. If they can make you angry, they can make you irrational. If they can make you guilty, they can make you obey. If they can make you jealous, they can make you chase. Every time you react emotionally, you give away your power. But the strongest individuals in history knew the secret. Indifference is the ultimate defense. Example, Stoic philosophers never reacted emotionally to insults or challenges. Intelligence agents are trained to remain unreadable, no matter the pressure. High-status individuals stay neutral because once you react, you expose your weakness. The rule? The less you react, the more control you have. How do you train this? Practical exercise, the grey rock technique. Stay neutral when someone tries to provoke you. No reaction, no emotional energy. Give short, vague responses when dealing with manipulative people. No engagement, no fuel for their game. Become unreadable. No excessive emotions, no obvious reactions, just pure control. The result? People stop trying to manipulate you. Conflicts dissolve because no one can shake you. You control the energy in every social dynamic. When people realize they can't affect you, they lose their power over you. Now that you control your emotions, it's time to master strategic thinking, where every move is calculated. Strategic thinking, making cold, calculated decisions. Most people react. The powerful calculate. The difference? Emotional decisions are based on impulses. Strategic decisions are based on logic, long-term thinking, and control. Example, world leaders don't react emotionally to crises. They assess every option before making a move. Military commanders don't let fear control them. They rely on logic and timing. Intelligence operatives don't act impulsively. They plan for every possible outcome before taking action. The rule: never react, always anticipate. How do you develop this mindset? Practical exercise, the pre-mortem strategy. Before making any decision, ask, what's the worst that could happen? List every possible outcome. See the big picture, not just the immediate moment. Identify emotional traps. Will fear, excitement, or ego push you toward a bad decision? Act only when the logical path is clear. The result? You stop making emotional mistakes. You start thinking ahead instead of reacting in the moment. You become impossible to manipulate because every move you make is intentional. The strongest minds don't just think, they think ahead. Now that you've learned how to detach from emotions and make calculated moves, it's time for the final level: cold-blooded logic. Final strategy: mastering cold-blooded logic. True mastery isn't about suppressing emotions, it's about controlling them. Emotions are powerful, but only when they serve you. Fear should warn you, not paralyze you. Anger should alert you, not control you. Excitement should motivate you, not blind you. The most feared and respected individuals in history shared one thing: an unshakable ability to stay rational under any circumstance. Example: Julius Caesar remained calm even when he was betrayed, because emotional control is power. Napoleon Bonaparte made strategic decisions in the heat of battle, because logic wins wars, not rage. Modern-day billionaires and world leaders think 5 steps ahead, because emotions don't dictate their actions. Strategy does. The rule: the moment you control your emotions, you control everything around you. How do you apply this? Final exercise: the 3-step cold logic framework. Pause before any major decision. Detach. Remove yourself from the emotion. Analyze. Ask, what's the logical move? What serves my long-term goal? Execute. Make the decision based on logic, not impulse. The result? You become unshakable. You make smarter, more calculated moves. You gain absolute control over yourself, and by extension, the world around you. Emotions are powerful, but if they control you, they make you weak. Learn to control them, and you become unstoppable. Now that you know how to shut down emotions and think with cold logic, how will you use it? Drop a comment below.